Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United transfer news as Bruno Fernandes speaks about why he's staying at Manchester United. Ruben Amorim apparently wants Gyokeres. Can that actually happen without Bruno leaving, which he's not going to do now? And also big updates coming in from the likes of Ben Jacobs around MBUEMO. And could we see the departure of some strikers? Let's get into it. Of course, here I am in New York. Get your comments in. But look, here we go. Latest Manchester United news. And it's not a here we go yet. I sort of wish I'd said this from the start of the week, actually. We had that really busy 24-hour period. But I think also what you've got to consider is it's Nations League, it's international football. I mean, there's some interesting games going on there. And it's not just a little bit quiet with Manchester United. It's gone a little bit quiet with a lot of other clubs as well. So again, this is what we're talking about yesterday. We've got to keep that tempo going. So I'm encouraged by the fact that these talks are going on with Brentford. Again, multiple sources saying that Brentford aren't in a rush to sell. MBUEMO's got 12 months left on his contract. They don't need to do this transfer cheaply. Man United want to get it done quickly. That's good. But Brentford basically saying that, look, you know, we want 62 million, which is what you paid for Cunha. And he's got 2 years left on his contract, 1 year with a +1, which they can activate at any point. So negotiations will go on. But let's get real about this. Surely there's a point where Brentford just go, let's do the deal, because they obviously know that MBUEMO wants to join Manchester United now, and you know Newcastle maybe want to pay more. Arsenal may well have paid more. I don't know who else was in, but he wants to come to Manchester United. I see this deal getting done sooner rather than later because there's just no point in like stopping the deal or trying to not let him do the deal because you're going to end up with an unhappy player. I think MBUEMO will be a Man United player. It's just about the negotiations around the deal. And as fans, it doesn't really matter. As long as we're not going to pay 80 million like we did for Anthony, and unless we're going to get him for 30 million, which would be an absolute steal, which we're not, we're going to be paying somewhere between 50 and 60, and it's going to be an instalment. So I think it's just about how quickly we can get this done. I wouldn't hold your breath on it. I mean, this is something that's been a United problem for quite a while. We can take 6 weeks to do a deal. This might not get done till, July. But honestly, I think they will get it done in June because we need him there and Cunha there. And you know what? We need a lot more. We do need a lot more. I was looking about how Amorim, I was watching the show with Beth this morning, actually. And I was watching about, how Amorim wants more quickly. And the striker is just a very, very important position. And that's going to be the big thing. They've got to keep the pressure on because Cunha and MBUEMO are a really good start. And I mean, I'm in the States at the moment and, we're on tour in the States in a few weeks, really. And having those two players there will be great for the US audience, but it's absolutely imperative for Ruben Amorim that he has these players in. You want a buzz around that squad. We've seen Sancho's coming back, but, they can't let him anywhere near that squad for pre-season. Same with Rashford, same with Garnacho. We'll talk about the strikers, Rasmus and Xerxes, in a minute, that you don't want, and I think Amorim will be like this. I think in the past with Ten Hag and Ollie, we've seen players come back for pre-season. I've always joked about it in the past. There was a certain Pereira, Andreas Pereira turning up at Carrington in July. No one wants to see it because he's a player that's never going to be part of it, maybe been on loan, and you just don't want those players back because the pre-season is so important. He's got to implement so many ideas and so much enthusiasm because we're coming back from such rock bottom. I was out last night in the Longacre, fantastic pub up near Times Square. Check it out, sports bar. And I was talking to a few people about United and they were like, do you think Amorim can survive? And I was like, realistically, as long as last season's a distant memory and we start the season reasonably well and the football's better, I think people, obviously we know there's an Amorim out movement, but they'll be, drowned out by, not necessarily positivity, but a project. So it's so important he has these players in for the project. And I think having MBUEMO and Cunha is a good start, but we've got to be greedy. We can't just go, right, it's a good start, let's not moan. Like we do need the striker, 100% we need the striker in. Do I think we can get Gyokeres? I think with Bruno there and Cunha there and MBUEMO there, it's a better project for someone like Gyokeres. I've always said that. But the reason I'd sort of said Bruno should move on is, one, I don't think he suits the system. And I still am to be convinced about that. Hopefully he can be a midfielder, but I don't think he is. But two, the vast amount of money that would have brought in would have allowed us to do it. Now, if we can keep Bruno, we can get Cunha, we can get MBUEMO, we can get Gyokeres, and we can get a goalkeeper. Still need a midfielder, maybe even a centre-back. So my mind does look at the money and goes, I know in the past they've sort of said there's no money, but I'm sort of looking at it and going like, there probably isn't any money. So I don't know where we're going to go with the striker, but I'm hopeful that they're going to create ways of bringing money into the club, because it's absolutely essential that we do get that striker in. With Gyokeres, I just feel that Arsenal, for whatever reason, are going slow. And whoever Arsenal go with, Sesko, Gyokeres, that will sort of enlighten everybody about the striker market and be the domino effect, because for some reason Arsenal's priority is they're going a bit slow on it, and it's very slow around Gyokeres. Of course, international week, it's an international break as well, so that could be slowing things down. But look, from a United point of view, it's moving okay. We know Garnacho's going to go, we know Rashford's going to go, we know Sancho's going to go, Cunha's here, we're talking to MBUEMO. So at the moment, I wouldn't say Bruno's now staying. I wouldn't say it's terrible. I mean, I listened to what Bruno Fernandes said in his interview. To me, it's pretty much what people have been messaging me in the industry, is that ultimately he didn't quite fancy the Saudi project at this stage of his career, and neither did his family. He was very unhappy at Manchester United at the end of the season, and was certainly looking at projects, which he was a year ago, so it's nothing new. But the project that would have made him leave, and Man United were very insistent that he stays. And if people didn't want Bruno to stay, then you've got to look at the club and Amrin, because they would absolutely, even Bruno said, annoyingly saying no, not in a way that he wanted to go, but they were constantly telling him that. It was never going to happen. But if a Barcelona, a Bayern Munich, a Real Madrid, a PSG had come in with the money, he'd have been gone. And you can't blame him for that. So we know Bruno's staying. We know that Cunha's here. We know that MBUEMO, talks are going, but what we need to do is get that striker in. And I'm people this morning talking about Xerxes or Rasmus going, for me, that's completely logical. I was only talking yesterday in that bar about Xerxes. I was like, if you've got Cunha and you've got MBUEMO and you've got Ahmad and you've got Mount and you've got Xerxes, that's 5 players for 2 positions, and Xerxes is not a striker. So Xerxes, it would be sad to see him go, but you also look at it and go, would we just keep him around as the backup striker who can also play as a number 10? And is he going to be happy with that? And obviously with Rasmus, I mean, he might not be happy being the backup striker. I think that's exactly what we need somebody to do. We need 2 strikers. But yeah, I can see both of them, probably Rasmus more at the moment because there's a lot of interest in Italy. But, we know there's that interest with Xerxes as well. And I don't really want Xerxes to go. I don't know about you lot, but if we're going to cash in, now's the time to do it, because there's quite a lot of interest there, isn't there? So yeah, but I tell you what I will say, I really do want a goalkeeper. I really do want a goalkeeper at Manchester United. I think it's so important that we get a goalkeeper. But people are talking about Maignan to Chelsea and talks with AC Milan. People are saying, why are we not in those talks? I know why we're not in those talks, because we can't move Onana on. Like, there's Saudi clubs trying to sign players all over the place. They don't want Onana, and therefore there's nowhere for Onana to go. And you can do all the good work in the number 10 position and you can try and get a striker. But if you don't bring in a goalkeeper, then the confidence in the team and the defence is a problem. So I think we will bring a goalkeeper in, but I just don't think we're active because of the issues that we have around Onana at the moment. Anyway, that was just a quick update for me from New York. New York, there it is. Lovely day. Another lovely day. It was so hot yesterday. Get your comments in. Make sure you smash a like on the video, and I'll speak to you on the next one. Take care.